So the final method is double pointed needles, or DPNs. Now to do DPNs around the whole body of the hat like this, you're going to need a full set of 5 DPNs that are 8 inches long so that all your stitches can fit all the way around. If you're only using them for the crown when it's a smaller circumference, then you can just use 4, so there'll be 3 around and then 1 working, or you can use shorter ones if you have shorter ones. So for this one I have a full set of 8 inch long. And so you'll divide your stitches into 4 parts. Again, it doesn't have to be equal parts, just 4 generally approximately quartered parts. One join can be your beginning of round. If you have pattern repeats, you can try to place the joins where the pattern repeats are, whatever works for you. So you're gonna knit from one of your needles where the yarn is onto the empty needle. Again, you'll just pull it across. Now this, for all these methods, 2 circulars, magic loop, and DPNs, when you're knitting from one needle across onto another needle, you want to make sure you pull that yarn tight. Maybe just give it a little extra pull after you knit the stitch to make sure you're not laddering where your stitch is changed. Laddering is something that can happen where the needle joins happen, especially if the needle's always changing at the same place, then you can get like a little separation between stitches at that place if you're not careful, or it looks like a ladder. So you want to avoid that by making sure you're pulling tightly across from one needle to the other, no matter what technique you're using. So I'm just knitting from one DPN onto the next, across a quarter of the stitches. Then when I reach the end of that needle, last stitch, I end up with an empty needle. Now these stitches are on this needle. I just turn, do the same thing, take that empty needle and knit the next quarter, pulling the yarn across. You just do that all the way around. Now some people prefer DPNs all the time instead of circulars, so you might be one of those people if you try it and you like it. It might just be easier for you to just use DPNs all the way from the bottom up to the top, not have to worry about any circular cords at all. Now speaking of the bottom with DPNs, cast on, which we haven't talked about. With all those circular methods, when you cast on, you'll just cast onto the circular and then kind of divide it up as needed. And with DPNs, I'm usually lazy and I just cast on directly onto the DPNs, but it can be a little tricky to cast on and kind of break up your cast on between needles. So what you can do is cast on onto a circular, so you have that whole cord, and then join it around and knit the first round onto the DPNs, dividing it in quarters. So knit a quarter of the stitches, then the next quarter, the next quarter, onto the DPNs. You can always knit from any needle onto any other needle if you want to switch techniques partway through. If you're using one technique and you decide maybe I like a different one better, just knit onto that other needle type at any point in the hat. You can try them all. Now you know all your options for knitting hats in the round.